Hey guys, welcome back to another exotic car DIY video. Today I'm going to be installing Blackboost intakes on the E63. So undoubtedly they are the most popular intakes for making power on these, but there's a lot of questions. Do they actually add power if your car is bone stock? And how much does it help you if your car is tuned? And most people really can't answer that question because their car is either stock or tuned. Mine is both. I have the Racechip still installed on here, so I can put it in stock mode. We're going to do a couple runs. Then I'm going to put it in the tune mode, and we're going to do a couple runs before and after on the same day to see what kind of result we get. So anyway, before I go on, can you guys do me a favor and hit that like button? That way YouTube doesn't hide these videos. Anyway, let's go ahead and install these guys. I actually picked these up used on eBay, and it turns out that these belong to the rarest M157 ever, apparently. It's the 5-liter CLS63 version. Never heard of that, so this must be the super rare version. So what we're going to do, flip this over, we're going to do this side. Alright, so we fixed the typo on the plates by just kind of painting this on there. They came out alright. I really didn't know anything better to put on there. So this is basically the kit you get with the Blackboost. 2 filters, 2 kind of pipes, an extension cord for one of the sensors, and then the boxes. So like I said, mine was used, and one thing I already noticed is like nearly every single one of these screws is loose on this thing. Just go through and make sure none of these bolts come loose, because that could be catastrophic if one of them made it through. Anyway, so let's go ahead and put these panels back on and get ready to put these in the car. All right, now that we've gotten literally every single bolt on those intakes tightened up, because every single one was loose, got to pop off our engine cover. There we go. I have not yet gone back to the fabric ones on here. I still have the, I guess, aftermarket ones you get on Amazon. And I don't know what to do about these, because the factory ones suck. These ones look stupid, but what can you do? So we're just going to loosen up all the connections so we can take the factory air boxes off. Go ahead and undo the one air sensor. And we just lift our boxes out. Sensor right here at the back. So now on the back of these boxes, we do have to take out the sensor. So now actually we can put this in. One complaint I've had with the Blackboost is they have this on the back, almost like they intended you to put this back here, but then instead they want you to put this here. So that leaves that hole completely open. It was like an afterthought or something like that that they never went back and fixed. So anyway, I guess you can leave this atmospheric. I'm just going to put a piece of tape over it. So real quick before we install it, they do include an extension with it. Go ahead and hook up your extension. Kind of tuck it out of the way. All right, now with the extension plugged in, it's time to kind of install it. Now there's this tricky ballet of how to get this to go in here and do this. The first time I installed this on my friend's car, we got it all hooked up here, then we couldn't get the filter in. So you kind of shove the filter in past where it's supposed to go. The way I found to do this is to loosen this clamp. That way you can pull this rubber piece off and kind of install it directly to the Blackboost intake. I'm literally kind of holding it in place, cranking it down, making sure that there's enough material here that it doesn't slide off. So now we should be able to kind of maneuver it onto the charge pipe. And it goes onto that much easier. And now maneuver the intake box into place. All right, so now we move on the passenger side. Little thing I learned there, it's so much easier if you take this plaque back off, especially when you're tightening the filter. All right, so again, we can kind of jam this all the way through, put it through the hole. Told you it's a little ballet. Now, once again, we're going to take it off the charge pipe, stretching over the pipe. There we go. Wiggle the box into place. Now we just kind of pull the filter, align it, and tighten down the charge pipe. All right, so we're almost done. Now we need to install our sensors, and they're going to go here and here. These are the ones that were on the original air box. So basically just find out how you can get them to line up, click them into place. We can install the cover. Well, here's the finished install. As you can see, one of my big complaints about the Blackboost intake is it leaves a giant gap here. So what I've done is actually remove the back mounts completely It's clipped into the front mounts, or the middle mounts and the front mounts, but I had to modify the front mount. And what I did, it's because like the angle's all messed up now. I went through, and as you can see, I added longer bolts there with about 12 millimeters of spacer. So basically this bracket is now physically higher, and that allows everything to be clicked in and have a flush ECU. I found out because it was contacting here and here, so this just had to come up a little bit, and that fixed it.
Quarter mile.
So I've had these Blackboost intakes on here for now about a month, and so what is the verdict in my opinion about these? So obviously they're performance parts, so the main thing we're going to be looking at is the performance, but there are two superficial things that people do talk about, and that is maybe the cosmetics and the sound. So as for the cosmetics, I mean, they do look pretty good. The fit is okay. The main complaint I have about them is how do they fit around the ECU. So if you don't change anything, your ECU is almost an inch below the engine cover, which I thought was kind of a poor afterthought for something that costs well over $1,000. So as you saw in the video, I was able to fix it by kind of raising up the front and removing the back spacers. And then the second superficial category is the sound. Now the sound, it's a very, very minor change. Under medium throttles, like in manual mode, if you give it a little gas and let off, you'll hear a slight swoosh and a wastegate dump, but it's very, very minor. I wouldn't buy it just for the sound. With the two superficial topics out of the way, let's move on to the performance. So I tried to do it objectively, same day test, and my average of all my runs, both for 0 to 60, just because quarter mile is a pretty good indicator, and then arguably the best indicator of horsepower is the 60 to 130 run. So what are the results? So we'll start with the 0 to 60, pretty much stock or with the Blackboost, almost negligible, especially on the same day. Didn't really show any difference at all. Now when I averaged all my runs together tuned, I did see about a 1/10 of a second increase, which is pretty substantial, you'd say. Now we'll move on to the quarter mile test. So if you look over on the stock side, basically again dead even. There's really no change between the Blackboost and not Blackboost. However, with a tuned, you're seeing a 1/10 of a second same day gain, and then overall still a little gain. Now moving on to the 6130, same thing we're seeing here. Stock, there's basically no change, just slight hundredths of a second loss. However, if you look over at that 60 to 130 with the Blackboost, I got a little over a half second gain in the 60 to 130, which is good. Even when I averaged out all the runs, it was still a gain. Well, those are my actual numbers. So obviously you can see if you got a stock car, they're really not going to provide any benefit. But if you have a tuned car, they are going to provide some kind of extra horsepower bump. You probably need to figure out if it's worth $1,400 to you. For me, it wasn't, but it was worth what I paid for them on eBay. So I'm not going to complain there. I'm happy with them. Now again, those are same day and average of all runs. I will add that I've set all new personal best records with the Blackboost intakes. So they do work. I got 3 updates for you guys. First one is, this is not the first time I've actually installed Blackboost intakes and done a test. I made an entire video on my friend's car. We installed them, did the same back-to-back same-day testing, but I just never ended up posting the video because honestly, we just were not that impressed with the results. But either way, for a point of reference, I'll include them now. As you can see in the 0 to 60 time and quarter mile time, just the slightest gain. We did break 3 seconds, which is cool. But you know, I guess there was a significant gain in the 60 to 130, almost 2/10 of a second there. So worth mentioning as another point of reference. The other updates are, I finally ended up going with a intake pipe system. I went with the Spectre 22-degree aluminum tube setup, and I actually really like this setup right here. I'm going to keep this one, other than just painting them either black or the same color as the charge pipes. I haven't decided. And then the third thing I'll update is just another drawback I found to the Blackboost intakes. They throw an engine trouble code. It is a positive crankcase ventilation incorrect flow detected. It's not one that'll trigger your dash light, but it shows up when you scan it, and it's related to those two sensors right there on the intake pipes. And basically I went to MB World to research this and found that basically several dozen people who have installed Blackboost intakes are all reporting this. It's basically anybody who's actually scanned their car, and it's just I don't know if it affects performance, but I figured I would mention it just because it is kind of a disappointment that when you install something that's $1,400, you'd figure that it was, you know, designed and engineered in a way that it would avoid triggering a trouble code. So it's kind of disappointing to see it. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Lots more videos coming. Please, guys, smash that thumbs up so YouTube stops hiding these videos from everybody. Thanks.